It's the never-ending story that often involves late April and early May. More storms, more rain, more severe weather possible, but changes are on the way next week. You better find your summer wear, because it's about to get toasty. Let's talk about it in this Thursday edition of the Texas Weather Roundup. Good morning. It's Thursday, the 2nd of May, 2024. I'm Texas Storm Chasers Boldy-in-Chief David Reimer. We were live for about 10 hours yesterday, dealing with severe weather across the eastern panhandle, West Texas, the Permian Basin, the Big Bend, and the portions of the Big Country, Concho Valley, Northwest Texas, Hill Country, Central Texas, the Brazos Valley, into Southeast Texas. Few tornadoes yesterday afternoon and early yesterday evening, southwest of Perryton. We had some east of Spearman, and then we also dealt with several around Turkey. Fortunately, haven't heard of any significant damage reports out of that, and hail and wind was much more common. And of course, we can't forget about the tornado southwest of Claritin. It was a long day. This morning, at the time of this video, about 5:30 a.m., we've still got thunderstorms underway across the eastern third of Texas. Heavy rain with flooding in the Brazos Valley, southeast Texas, and we may be dealing with more of that over the next couple of days. Let's just get into it. As we look at the severe weather outlook for today, tonight, into Friday morning, yes, another chance for thunderstorms developing this afternoon off the dry line across portions of northwest Texas, the Big Country, and the Concho Valley. Still uncertainty, though, on exactly how today's going to play out. It depends on how quickly storms this morning clear out. But the way it looks now, we're probably going to see enough destabilization and daytime heating and clearing occur that we'll have isolated to scattered severe storms pop up. Oklahoma City down to southwestern Oklahoma into northwest Texas, the Big Country. Initial storm mode once again will favor supercells that'll move off to the southeast. The potential for the strongest of those to produce hail up to the size of baseballs. Localized damaging wind gusts. The potential for a few tornadoes across northwest Texas and Big Country late this afternoon into early this evening. Those storms probably will grow upscale into clusters that will then propagate into portions of Texoma, North Texas, perhaps, honestly, the eastern half of the state. Again, it's going to depend on how today unfolds. Also going to have a conditional threat for storms to fire up like they did yesterday in parts of central Texas, the Brazos Valley, East Texas, on boundaries left over from last night / this morning's storms. Those storms could also be a bit severe, but all storms today probably going to produce more heavy rain, and that's a problem for areas in the Brazos Valley in southeast Texas and parts of North Texas that have already dealt with flooding. Let's take a look at the high-res rapid refresh model. You can see storms start firing up late this afternoon, maybe a little later than yesterday, across northwest Texas, the Big Country, southwestern Oklahoma, generally move southeast, maintaining their discrete mode for a while into this evening, and then tonight we may see a cluster fire up. Big Country, northwest Texas, Texoma, northwest Texas. That would move across North Texas, the Metroplex, southeast, early tomorrow morning into parts of East Texas. But again, things may look different this afternoon. Regardless, the general idea is, yeah, that's what we can expect. You can see most storms this afternoon slow moving. High precipitation supercells, and they may continue well into the evening, and then we could see a cluster of storms again tonight. You could see this morning's cluster of storms probably still ongoing through about noon in southeast Texas, the Golden Triangle. If not, I mean, that's good. We've had enough rain down there. It needs to stop, and then more storms tonight. Eventually, once we transition to that line of storms or clusters, we'll knock out the very big hail threat. The tornado threat will go back to very low, maybe an embedded spin-up or two. Localized damaging wind gust will be the main hazard, along with heavy rainfall that could cause flooding. Again, some of these storms could drop 2 to 4 inches of rain an hour, especially if we have a situation where these storms are just sitting over one location for an extended period of time. And again, main severe weather threat window this afternoon, 4 p.m., northwest Texas, the Big Country. It may be a little later than that, and we could be going through 5 a.m. tomorrow morning with that cluster of storms moving southeast. After tomorrow morning, well, let me just show you what the American model, the global forecast system, shows. This is one solution. I'm going to actually restart it real quick and start right at the beginning. Now, again, I want to emphasize, Model Land's going to have issues with this just because we've been doing this for days now. What happens today will impact tomorrow. General expectation is, though, we're probably going to see the dryline retreat back into the Panhandle, West Texas, the Permian Basin tomorrow afternoon, Friday. Could see isolated supercells fire up, Panhandle, West Texas, down into portions of the Permian Basin again tomorrow afternoon. If they do, big hail, localized damaging winds, maybe a tornado, heavy rainfall. Those storms Friday night move into the big country, perhaps as a cluster towards North Texas. Again, it depends where they form. If they form further north or south, that'll impact areas farther east, weakening as we get into Saturday morning. Cool front across northern Oklahoma moving south, the potential for some storms with that as a cluster. Saturday, the potential for some isolated scattered thunderstorms again by Saturday afternoon across West Texas, the Permian Basin, the Panhandle. Some of those may have hail. Strong winds move east Saturday night as a cluster of moderate to heavy rainfall, maybe some strong wind gusts. Wind shear aloft isn't going to be as strong as the last few days, so hopefully the severe threat will be lower. That being said, storms move into North Texas, Texoma Sunday morning, the Arklatex, and then really the eastern half of the state. And then scattered showers and storms on Sunday, eastern half and northern half of the state. Again, this is just the global forecast system. The Europeans a little more ambitious with the rain chances, but clear indications are we're going to remain unsettled today, tomorrow, Saturday, Sunday, maybe Monday. Monday, we're going to have a pretty strong storm system take shape, except it's going to be over the central and northern plains. We're going to be right on the tail end. It's undetermined at this point if we're going to be able to get storms this far south into northwest Texas, Texoma, North Texas, or if they're going to stay north of the Red River and maybe north into Kansas. That'll be something we'll watch over the weekend. There's some discrepancies in long-range weather model data with that. But again, we're going to be busy the next few days. Here's just forecast rain totals 7 a.m. this morning through 7 a.m. Sunday, the 5th of May. This does not include, or this includes, it's been a long couple days, 7 a.m. today through 7 a.m. Sunday, meaning this is all additional rain totals expected. We've got a problem in the Brazos Valley, southeast Texas. Parts of those areas have already seen nearly 15 to 20 inches of rain in the last 4 days. Another 5+ inches of rain, that's not good. We're going to have a second and a third flood wave move down the San Jacinto and Trinity Rivers towards the Houston metro from the Brazos Valley in East Texas over the next few days. We could see more additional flash flooding, more, again, flood waves down on those two tributaries. This ain't going to be good. And again, this is all additional rain totals. So flooding is going to be a big threat here, maybe the biggest threat. Across parts of northwest Texas, the Big Country, West Texas, the Concho Valley into Texoma, North Texas, the Arklatex, an additional 1 to 3 inches of rain expected, locally higher amounts. That's good. We need the rain out there, probably. And then maybe an additional, let's just say 1/4 to 1 inch of rain, the Panhandle, the Concho Valley, the Hill Country, along I-35 into south central Texas, into the Edwards Plateau, and then into the coastal plains. So this is all through 7 a.m. Sunday, with some additional rain possible into Sunday afternoon, and maybe some rain in the northern half of the state next week. Now, let's take a look at the wildfire forecast for the next few days from the Texas A&M Forest Service. Today, tomorrow, Saturday, highest threat for wildfires west of the dry line, and places that haven't had rain. So the Trans-Pecos, Guadalupe Mountains, Trans-Pecos, Davis Mountains, borderland far west Texas around El Paso into the Big Bend, western portions of the Permian Basin. And again, Friday, Saturday, eastern 75% of the eastern 75% of Texas, low to moderate wildfire danger, while the threat remains highest across the western quarter of the state. Now let's look at temperatures over the next few days. Today, we're going to have a cool front move south, temperatures in the 70s in the Panhandle, 90s, Big Country, Concho Valley, Permian Basin, Edwards Plateau, Rio Grande Plains, deep south Texas, Rio Grande Valley, the Big Bend, 70s and 80s, eastern third to eastern half of the state, quite humid. So we go into tomorrow, high temperatures 70s, Panhandle, West Texas, Texoma, Northwest Texas, 80s along and east of Interstate 35 from San Antonio up to DFW, into the Arklatex, East Texas, Southeast Texas, quite humid, 90s across the Concho Valley, the Permian Basin, Big Bend, Edwards Plateau, Rio Grande Plains, deep south Texas. As we go into Saturday, a little cooler northern half of the state with high 70s to low to middle 80s. Southern half of the state, middle 80s to middle 90s. Sunday, even a little cooler. Again, this time now, 70s and 80s. Northern two-thirds of Texas, 90s. Southern third of Texas. And then by Monday, we start to deal with some summer-like weather. We're going to have much warmer temperatures, and it's going to be very humid across the eastern half to the eastern half of the state. Highs, eastern half of the state, 80s and 90s. Strong southeast winds, very humid. Heat index values, 90s to low 100s, especially in southeast Texas and along the Gulf Coast. Western half of the state, highs, 80s, 90s to lower 100s. It's going to be toasty. And this is a day where we may have some severe thunderstorm potential east of the dry line in North Texas, Texoma, Northwest Texas. We'll see. By Monday, through most of next week, the southern half of the state, you're going to be shut off from rain chances, it looks like, as the summertime high-pressure ridge aloft builds into the Gulf Coast states, strongest to our southeast. But let's just take a peek ahead to Wednesday next week. You ready for some summer-like temperatures? Highs, the coolest temperatures probably in the Panhandle, where it'll be in the mid to upper 80s. 90s, Arklatex, Texoma, North Texas, Northwest Texas. Permian Basin, the big country, into, southeast Texas. Eastern half of the state to southern half of the state at least, it's going to be very, very, very humid after all the rain we've had. Heat index values add 10 to 20 degrees on top of what these temperatures are showing for the eastern half of the state. High temperatures forecast next Wednesday, 107 in Laredo, 103 in McAllen, 96 to 97 in San Antonio, 95 in Austin, 90 DFW, 93 in Waco, with dew points in the middle 70s. That'll knock heat index values above 100. Houston, about 93 next Wednesday. Sorry, the camera's blocking Houston. Heat index values likely above 105 degrees. Piney Woods of East Texas, the Arklatex, highs in the low 90s. Heat index values above 100. Western third of the state, hopefully, with y'all behind the dry line, it'll be drier, but it's still going to be warm. So again, get ready, because it's about to get quite warm as we get into next week, and humid. A taste of summer is on the way to the state of Texas. We may still have thunderstorm chances continuing in places like the Panhandle, West Texas, Northwest Texas, Texoma, North Texas. We'll see. It depends on exactly where that upper level heat dome sets up. If it sets up too close to us, the entire state is going to be shut off, and the chance of precip will be shunted north. But if not, we may still have some stormy issues to deal with, which, being the first to second week of May, one would typically expect. So, from storms to heat and humidity we go. If it's like last year, well, once the rain chances finally stop, and we're not done for the spring yet, mind you. I don't think this is the beginning of summer as a whole, but once it stops, it's going to take several weeks to burn off any sort of soil moisture we have, which means it's going to be very humid. We dealt with this last summer. It took, probably 4 weeks to burn off the soil moisture before humidity dropped, and then, flash drought. Hopefully that's not what we're going to do this summer, but we're going to be in a La Nina, so we might, unless we get hit by multiple hurricanes, which La Ninas tend to also do. So we'll see. I'm not ready to deal with hurricanes and tropical cyclones yet. We're not there. No, I refuse. That's a headache for another month. Hopefully way down the road, maybe next year. Let's just skip this year's hurricane season. All right, that's going to be it for your Texas Weather Roundup on this Thursday. I'm going to go take a nap, and we'll be back by this afternoon, this evening, probably doing all this coverage stuff again, because it's May, and that's what we do in May. And yeah, that's about it. You can get your local weather forecast, interactive weather radars, the daily Texas weather roundups, and live severe weather coverage in the free Texas Storm Chasers mobile app. Just search for Texas Storm Chasers where you download apps for your device. And you can find us on the web, texasstormchasers.com/radar. And thank you to all those hitting the subscribe button on the Texas Weather Center YouTube. We appreciate it. We appreciate the thumbs up. We appreciate the comments. We appreciate all y'all joining the membership option that we launched quietly last week. So thank you for that. All right, I'm done talking. It's nap time. Y'all have a great day. We'll chat with y'all later on today. Keep an eye on the forecast. Some things will probably change. Meteorologist Jason Coley will let you know. And then I'll wake up from my nap and we'll do this whole thing all over again. All right, we'll chat with you later. God bless.